here. See if the YouTube wakes up properly. Yes. All right. There's been some weirdness with the YouTube connectivity, so I get celebratory whenever it just goes off without a hitch. And I'm just celebrating another day, right? I'm celebrating another day. Hello, good day, good afternoon, good evening, good morrow, good times. The date is March the 24th in this crazy quarantined year of our Lord 2020. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you are staying home. I hope you are making the most of a pretty weird situation. I hope you're catching up with family. I hope you're having dinners via FaceTime with your loved ones. I hope you're catching up on some reading. Maybe working on that novel you said you were going to write years ago. Maybe you're learning an instrument. Maybe you're learning a new language via Rosetta Stone or some of those apps. Or maybe you have family in foreign countries and you're Skyping with them, practicing your skills of whatever their native tongue is. Maybe you're growing food in your yard. If you got a yard, maybe you're growing food in it. Maybe you always wanted to have a pepper plant. You're doing that. Maybe you're scrapbooking. I don't know. I'm just saying, I hope everyone's making the most of it. I have a little bit of housekeeping to get into before we break into the news today. So yesterday on the show, so here's what YouTube does all the time. They do this every single time on every single channel, to my knowledge, because I've seen it happen to Graham on the Political Vigilante. I see it happen on the Jimmy Dore Show every single time I am on it, and it happens to me too. So I'm assuming it happens to just every YouTube channel. But whenever you get super chats, you kind of see them all lined up in a row. And for some reason, the last one is always cut off and you can't read it. It has always been that way. Now, when that happens, what I do is I just scroll through the regular chat and I find it. And, it's not like Get Your News On with Ron has thousands of people watching yet. Hopefully we'll get there, y'all. But we don't have that now. So it's usually easy for me to find. For some reason yesterday, all of my super chats weren't in the regular chat. You know what I mean? Like they were all in the regular spot where they're supposed to be, but in the regular chat, none of them were there. So not only was the last one not there, but for some reason, none of them were there. Not a single one. I don't know why that was, but I kept scrolling up and down. I'm like, all right. And so I asked, I was like, and it was Sparky, one of our regular viewers. And I was like, so Sparky sent a super chat. I have no idea what it is. I'd like to read it. Can somebody send it to me? Can somebody type it out and I'll look at it? And here's the thing. There's a delay between myself and you guys. Like when I'm doing stuff in real time, it gets to you guys a little bit later because it travels through a series of tubes known as the internet. I forget the Republican that called the internet a series of tubes. Anyway, some Republican did that a while ago and it was funny. But anyway, so I asked that, and then it took a little while, so I wasn't sure. I thought maybe it was gone for you guys as well. So I just did the send-off, and then some of you guys did put it in the chat, but by the time I saw it, I was already, I had already signed off. So I'm sorry about that. I asked Sparky, I said, look, please email me, and I'll take care of it at the start of tomorrow's show, tomorrow being today, of course, now. So Sparky did email me, and he sent me that super chat. And Sparky, again, please accept my apologies. And I'm sorry about that. And that was a weird thing. And if it happens again, I'll just, I'll just make sure there's more time in between my request and you guys trying to service that request, right? But anyway, here's Sparky's super chat. And again, please accept my apologies. This is Sparky's super chat from yesterday. And it's actually pretty funny. The Senate should wear hazmat suits. So that senators who would have voted yes but couldn't vote before because they were quarantined can come to the Capitol and vote on some urgently needed assistance bills so they would pass. It would also make for a really cool picture. You'd think there'd be some way they could have a safe... I mean, why can't they just kind of do it virtually? Why can't they... I mean, this is the United States government. They kind of have unlimited resources. They couldn't have some kind of virtual votes. Of course, the Democrats and Republicans are just butting heads back and forth anyway. But if they did, take up a decent package like, the Sanders Bernie Sanders put forward, or the package Ilhan Omar put forward, or, any variation thereof. Yeah, I don't know why they couldn't. You'd think they could figure out something so that they didn't all have to be. But anyway, who knows? Hazmat suits, good of idea as any. Thank you for that, Sparky. And again, apologies about yesterday, guys. So this has been going viral on the internet, and I saw this and I thought it was pretty hysterical. Let's just go ahead and jump into it, shall we? This guy, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. He's not a Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. So here's the tweet. This is from Andrew Lawrence, who works at Media Matters for America. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick says grandparents would be willing to die to save the economy for their grandchildren. Let's check this out, shall we?
Living in fear of is what's happening to this country. And, Tucker, no one reached out to me and said, as a senior citizen, are you willing to take a chance on your survival in exchange for keeping the America that all America loves for your children and grandchildren? And if that's the exchange, I'm all in. And that doesn't make me noble.
Even Tucker's kind of looking like, this dude sounds a little nuts. This guy sounded a little crazy.
Or brave or anything like that. I just think there are lots of grandparents out there in this country, like me. I have 6 grandchildren, that what we all care about and what we love more than anything are those children. And I want to, live smart and see through this, but I don't want the whole country to be sacrificed. And that's what I see. I've talked to
this guy. So he is willing to die. He is willing to die so that his grandchildren, too, can experience going into crippling amounts of debt if they want to go to college. He is willing to die. Can you imagine this guy in a Walmart with his family? He grabs a T-shirt from the $2 rack and be like, look at this, Timmy. Look at this, young Timmy. I'm willing to die for this so that you can have it. Uncle Dan, you're making a scene and everyone's kind of embarrassed and we don't know what you're talking about. Please settle down. We don't know what to do. Do you think he ever gifted? Capitalism. He's willing to die for it. Do you think he ever gifted it? Do you think one year him and his wife were out to dinner for her birthday or something, and they're at a cheesecake factory. I don't know. I'm just making this up. And they're there. And she goes, oh, honey, thank you for this lovely dinner. Did you get me a gift? And he goes, you're looking at it. This is the gift. The free market, neoliberalism. And I am willing to die for it. I'm willing to die for it, for you and for our children and our grandchildren. And now I'm going to tip this server less than I should, because it is our God-given American right to be a human piece of garbage. I'm willing to die so that you, too, cannot afford a mortgage. The best part is all the younger generations, they kind of don't like the rugged neoliberalism. They don't like the capitalist society that we have because they've seen all the downsides of it. They only know recession, so they're not big fans of it. So I'm willing to die for your capitalism. It's like getting one of those gifts from a distant relative, like a piece of clothing that you're never going to wear. It's just here it is, capitalism. And then the younger generations are just can we return this? I just don't think I'm ever going to use this. I don't see myself using this. Can we kind of return this? Can we? Oh, we can only get store credit. We can only get, how much store credit do we need for some democratic socialism? How much, do we have enough credit for that? Can you look into it? Yeah, if we could exchange this for some democratic socialism, that'd be great. We'd be fine with that. Thanks, Uncle Dan. Oh, we'll still send him a thank you card. If he asks, don't tell him we traded it in. We don't want to hurt Uncle Dan's feelings. We don't really want to hurt Uncle Dan. Hey, your Uncle Dan's on the phone. Oh, do I have to? It's your birthday. You have to talk to your Uncle Dan. Talk to your Uncle Dan. Hello, Uncle Dan. Did you look around and see the stock market? I'm willing to die. Okay, Uncle, I'm putting him on mute. I just can't do this. Mom, why do you make me talk to Uncle Dan? He's got... But shout out to Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. He just became the best comedian in government, as far as I'm concerned. He has the gold star right now. Could not share that with you guys. I could not share that. All right, so here is something interesting, and let me start by saying I am 100% in support of what we're doing right now. I stay home. That is my message. That has always been my message. I think these precautions are the right thing to do. The coronavirus is a very real threat. And I hope that these precautionary actions, which again, it's a bit more than precautionary now. The cases are going up, but we're really trying to go on lockdown to prevent ourselves from getting to a more extensive level, and I hope that is successful, of course. On the same token, are there some situations where you're kind of seeing an overreach by government to kind of step on our civil liberties in a way that is not necessary and not productive, and it's just an overreach for power? Yes, you do see stuff like that occurring. There's no reason the FBI needs to track all of our cell phones right now. There's no reason we need to extend spying powers for the Trump administration. There's no reason, and all those things have happened as of recent. There was a bill, HR 6271. There's no reason for that. That's not helping us battle the coronavirus. That's just an overreach of power. And it's possible for both things to be true. It's possible that, yes, it's good that we're doing what we're doing, and we need to take the coronavirus extremely seriously. However, it's also possible and also true that you might see some government overreach at the throne of power. So, keeping that in mind, here's an article from Rolling Stone. DOJ wants to suspend certain constitutional rights during the coronavirus emergency. So the Trump Department of Justice has asked Congress to craft legislation allowing chief judges to indefinitely hold people without trial and suspend other constitutionally protected rights during coronavirus and other emergencies. While the ask from the Department of Justice will likely not come to fruition, they demonstrate how much this White House has a frightening disregard for rights enumerated in the Constitution. The DOJ has requested Congress allow any chief judge of a district court to pause court proceedings whenever the district court is fully or partially closed by virtue of any natural disaster, civil disobedience, or other emergency situation. This would be applicable to any statutes or rules of procedure otherwise affecting pre-arrest, post-arrest, pre-trial, trial, and post-trial procedures. So basically, they can just hold you indefinitely without any due process. And by the way, our prisons are extremely dangerous in regards to the outbreak. There's already been 8 outbreaks in our prisons. So not only are they just going to hold you indefinitely, trampling on your constitutional rights, but they're going to keep you in a place that is very unsafe as far as the containment of this disease. And here's something that happened in Orlando recently. So in Orlando, this occurred. Orlando police, there we go. There's the ad. That's so funny. Orlando police arrest a homeless man who violated curfew. So a 34-year-old man who police described as homeless was arrested early Sunday for violating a countywide curfew put in place amid the coronavirus pandemic, an arrest affidavit shows. Alexander Glover was walking with a bicycle about 4 a.m. He's homeless. Near Delaney Avenue and Woodland Street, south of downtown Orlando, he was stopped by an Orlando police officer who asked if he was heading to work. The officer, Alex Ham, wrote in the report Glover told him he was heading to the Lenox bus station, but he didn't work until Monday under the countywide curfew, which was enacted on Friday. Anyone who is not a first responder, must be inside between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. He's homeless. Where is his inside? He doesn't have one. He's homeless. So what do you do in this case? Well, in some places now they're arresting them. They're enacting curfews. So if you're homeless and you can't follow this curfew because you're homeless, they throw you in jail. Where again, it's not a great place to be. Well, for many reasons. Obviously, jail isn't a good place to be, but is in regards to this pandemic, jail is not a good place to be. Study after study has shown that it's spreading there. It's not always sanitary. And they're just throwing people in jail. Well, here's a model of a different approach. Here's something that they're doing over in the UK. Just to, and again, I'm not here to say that the UK is perfect. Of course it isn't. They have their own problems. But here's what they're doing. UK hotels to become homeless shelters under coronavirus plan. Up to 45,000 self-contained accommodation spaces needs to be urgently found. Hotels and offices will be converted into emergency safe spaces under a national action plan drawn up by Tony Blair's former homelessness expert to protect rough sleepers from coronavirus. Louise Casey, hired by Boris Johnson last month over the issue of homelessness, was scheduled to start her role after Easter, but deepening disquiet that So the strategy to safeguard the homeless will be announced on Monday and follows the lead of California in allowing vacant hotels to be requisitioned into homes for rough sleepers to those vulnerable to the virus. So the bright spot here is that California is doing something similar. So that's cool. That's the state where I live. That's cool that we're doing something productive here. Now UK is doing that on a more mass level. They're doing it more extensively. And it's being led by Boris Johnson, who, by the way, a conservative over there, a far-right conservative over there. And even in this, for instance, their approach to homelessness, let's try to help people. Let's try to get them shelter. Because that's the safest thing, not just for them, but for everybody else. You get people shelter, you allow people to quarantine, that's safer for everybody. Everybody. You throw them in jail, that's more dangerous for everyone because now another human being has become more vulnerable. What happens when you just let them go? And maybe they have coronavirus now. So not only is this brutal and cruel, so on a moral level, it's absolutely disgusting. That goes without saying. You're going to take people who don't have a home during this pandemic. They're struggling especially hard. You're just going to penalize them, treat them like criminals, and throw them in jail. Not only is it morally repulsive, which I think doesn't even need to be mentioned. It just goes without saying. But it's also more dangerous for society at large. It's more dangerous for all of us. Whereas in the UK, they're trying to house people in hotels. They're trying to actually do something constructive to help not only the homeless, but everybody else too. Everybody. So it's very interesting when you see how, when you see kind of a more communal, nurturing approach versus an approach that, and I know I use this term a lot, and I probably say it too much, but it's a great term and it's very appropriate. An approach that is straight up Orwellian, because that's what this is: arresting homeless people, trying to suspend constitutional rights in the name of a pandemic. That's authoritarian. That's an overreach. That's only to be used to hurt people, not help society, not help battle the coronavirus, but to help those in power keep their thumb on those without it. This is just something to benefit the haves. Over militarization. And, whenever something like this happens, and it's a shame that this is the world we live in, but that's the reality. Whenever something like this happens, there's a little bit of a test involved. Let's see what people are willing to say okay to. And it's really sad that in the United States, that's what the powers that be do. But that's the reality. And the coronavirus will be no different. It is no different. And that's the line we all have to walk. The line we have to walk is saying, yes, we need to stay home. We need to take this seriously. We need to listen to the information. We need to listen to the CDC. That's all very important. But we also need to sniff out overreaches when it happens. We also need to realize that, the FBI doesn't need to know where we are at every single second. That, trampling on people's constitutional rights isn't going to help us battle coronavirus. Throwing homeless people in jail where there's more likely to be a spread of corona isn't necessarily going to help. Not only is it brutal treatment of the person, but it also hurts everyone else too. So I know it's a crazy notion, but what I'm saying is I don't think the oligarchs have our best interests in mind. Call me crazy. And maybe we should take a few notes from our brethren across the pond, which, by the way, incidentally, took a couple notes from us. Took a couple notes from California. Maybe everyone else should take some notes from California and the UK, and we should do this on a mass level. Call me a dreamer. All right, so I'll be brutally honest with you guys. I forget what this is. Oh, wait, yeah, I remember. All right, I want to share this, and it's just a link right now, but I remember what this is. Joe Biden has resurfaced. He resurfaced yesterday. We played his epic video where he, and I know there's a lot of people are saying like they think it might be a green screen. Some people are saying they think it might be a deep fake video. I think it was actually him. I don't think it was a deep. I think it was definitely Joe Biden. Whether or not that was a green screen behind him, I have no idea. I mean, maybe they didn't like the natural setting, so they put a green screen behind him. No clue. But he was not making much sense. He was offering no solutions, and he did not look well. He did not look well at all. Well, here he goes. Here he is again. Here's another epic Biden clip. Now they're talking about a cure here because Trump rattled off some nonsense, and Joe Biden was not to be outdone by Trump's nonsense. Joe Biden was like, Trump, you're rambling nonsense. I can beat that. Here we go. Check this out.
Assess the recommended period for keeping businesses shut and people at home. Are you at all concerned, as Trump said, that we cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself?
We have to take care of the cure. That will make the problem worse no matter what. No matter what. We know what has to be done. We know you have to
would reassess.
We have to take care of the cure. We have to take care of the cure. We have to. Robert Smith, if you're out there. Robert Smith, if you're out there. A candidate for president of the United States knows that you need to be taken care of. I know you don't live in the United States. I know you're over in England. But Joe Biden, we need to take care of you right now. I mean, that's somebody Trump's just like, we can't make sure the cure's worse. Joe Biden's like, we need to take care of the cure. That's what that'll make it worse. Like, these two people, there is a chance that if Joe Biden and Donald Trump debate, we will not know which point either one of them are trying to make. There is a chance that will happen at some point during the debate. And then the main panels will just malfunction. And then you'll see somebody go over with a wrench to each of their brains and just make some adjustments. And then they'll be on again. And they'll be like, the economy, jobs, and dur, dur, dur. But there is a good chance. I'm hoping... I'm hoping Joe Biden's not the nominee. Because if he is, Crush will... I almost said Crush will Trump him. Trump will crush him. He's returned to this public spotlight, just being MIA for 6 or 7 days. By the way, no explanation. Were we given any kind of explanation? I haven't heard one. I mean, if something's out there, I have not seen it. Maybe I missed it. But I have not as of yet now, and please let me know in the chat if I'm missing something. But I have not seen any explanation as to where Joe Biden was, or why he was out of the public spotlight. It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me the level of just bootlicking people will go through when it comes to Joe Biden. I mean, there were people on Twitter, and these are regular humans capable of rational thought, I'm assuming, who are saying stuff like, well, Joe Biden's a private citizen. He can disappear whenever he wants. He owes you no explanation. He's running for president. He's running to lead the country. No, he doesn't get, he's not some private citizen who can do whatever he wants. He's running for president. People were actually saying that he's a private citizen. He can do whatever he wants. He can just, if he doesn't want to, if he wants to go golfing right now, he can. Why are you telling a private citizen what they can do? He can just go do whatever he wants. If he wants to go on vacation right now, he can. And then you better vote for him. And if you don't vote for him, it's your fault. Why don't we just have an emperor? Why don't we just have an emperor? And you can lick their boots. In fact, they might even give you that for a job. He's a private citizen. He can just disappear when he feels like it. He's trying to be president. No, he doesn't get to do that. Oh, and you know what? I'll put this out there because this makes my stomach turn. Please stop saying with Joe Biden that it's elder abuse. Please stop saying that, because it isn't. He's aware of what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, he's declining mentally, sure. But he has enough faculties about him to know what he's doing. So I don't buy that he is any kind of victim here. Anyone who is trying for the sake of their own ego and their own legacy to make sure you don't get health care, which is what Joe Biden is doing. He is vowing to veto Medicare for all, and he is standing in the way of a candidate who would give you Medicare for all. And he's doing it with the help of the DNC and the help of the other 2020 nominees and the help of the corporate media and the help of pretty much all the powers that be, really. So he is no victim. He is nowhere close to a victim. So just stop. Oh, it's elder abuse. It's not even his. No, he knows what he's doing. He's still with it enough to know what he's doing. He knows full well what he's doing. He is no victim. No victim at all. So stop saying it. Just stop. Just stop. You're an enabler when you do stuff like that. That's what you are. You're a passive enabler. Anyway, but Robert Smith, if you're out there, we need you. Robert Smith. If you're out there, Joe Biden, he needs to keep you safe. I don't know how he's going to do that. Could you imagine? I mean, that's at least kind of a funny visual. Just Robert Smith standing there like, oh, I just kind of want to play my guitar. And Joe Biden's like, we need to keep, man, come on, man. No malarkey. I got to keep you safe. Just stand here. Just stand here, man. He's like, oh, I just want to go home. I don't know what you Americans are doing, why you're doing this. I just want to go home. But anyway, I guess since we made a music reference, as we often do, I'll get to the song of the day. And I promised a little Tupac Shakur. So here we go. Keep Your Head Up by Tupac. That's the song of the day. Brilliant song. Socially ahead of its time. Great lyrics. And it's, we got money for war, but we can't feed the poor. Powerful line in that song. I'm not going to recite the lyrics much. So, and here's why. I don't know if you guys remember this, but there's a YouTube personality named Shoe on Head. She's great. I've watched some of her videos. I've definitely watched like 5 or 10 of her videos. I've liked everything I've seen from her. Obviously I'm not familiar with her full catalog, but everything I've seen from her, I've enjoyed. I think she's very funny. I really like her videos a lot. And she also, one of her other YouTube channels is called Brainlit. And she put out this song called Mad Lib. And it was a really good song. I mean, I loved it. It was a fantastic song. And somebody sent it to me. And I didn't know I wasn't familiar with her. I didn't know who she was. So I thought it was like she was an actual just hip hop artist. So I kind of recited some of the lyrics, and I was doing it like in a serious nature because I thought that was like paying respect to the artist. I was like reciting the rhymes and doing it kind of seriously, not realizing who she was. So she tweeted out the video. And she was like, wow, this guy, he's getting really into this. And it was all good fun. I mean, she wasn't doing it like, but it was kind of funny because like I saw that and I'm like, oh wow, dude, I'm totally coming off as like just the nerdy aging millennial in this scenario, and deservedly so. Like I saw it and I laughed, and a bunch of people were making fun of me really bad on Twitter. And it was fun. I mean, I laughed about it. Most of it was in good spirit. Some of it was kind of mean, but most of it was in good fun. And I responded and I was like, look, I'm sorry about that ridiculous plug. I wasn't familiar with who you were, and someone just sent me that song. And for what it's worth, I think it's a great song. But anyway, and it is. Check it out. Mad Lib by Brainlit. Also, the YouTuber Sean Head. She's really cool. I'm sure a lot of you probably know who she is already. She's got a very, very big following. But anyway. So, yeah, ever since then, my point is, ever since then, I'll no longer like recite rap lyrics. I'll just be like, it's a great song. Check it out. I'm not gonna just, we got money for war, but can't feed the poor. Tupac, keep your head up. Great song. Check it out. Oh, that's the song of the day. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it anywhere. Y'all know who Tupac is. Check that out. All right. So here's another thing I wanted to talk about today. So a big mission of this show is city-owned internet and municipal broadband. It's and some of you guys know that. I mean, one of the missions for 2020, which of course, in light of everything that's going on, that has been delayed a little bit, and we're still trying to figure it out. But myself and Kevin Ronka from Right Brain Studios, Kevin, he's been on this show. He made the documentary, The Revolution Televised, and the documentary Night Crawlers, which I really need to see. I know we had him on the show recently. I can't wait to see that movie. I'm really excited for it. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to. It's a heavy movie, so you really have to be like, okay, I want a documentary right now. But anyway, he's supposed to help me on some mini documentaries around city-owned internet. And, I really try to raise the consciousness on this issue. I'm trying to raise the activism on this issue because I think it's very important. For anyone who's not a regular here and you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, what city-owned internet is it takes the internet out of the hands of the Comcasts and the AT&Ts, and it puts it into the hands of cities and municipalities. This is being done more and more throughout the country, especially because of the loss of net neutrality. Net neutrality, of course, is that law that dictates that the internet must be treated like an open platform, and no traffic can be prioritized over other traffic on the internet. All websites need to load the same. We don't have that protection anymore. Net neutrality has been repealed. So, more cities and towns across the country are building their own internet. And there was a study conducted by Harvard University that the Bernie Sanders campaign actually references in Bernie's high-speed internet for all plan, where they show that every city and municipality that does a municipal broadband plan, which again is city-owned internet, they're able to offer residents internet that is just as good quality, if not better quality. In most cases, it's better quality than what the cable companies are offering. And they're able to do it at a cheaper price. It's more affordable. So you're getting a free and open internet. You're getting better quality internet, and you're paying less for it. Now, why is this the case? Well, this is the case because these big cable companies over the years have just formed organized duopolies. They have territorial arrangements with each other. AT&T, Comcast has got this land. You don't go here. And in exchange, Comcast won't go here. And then what do? They try to price gouge consumers as much as they can because their concern is not providing the best service possible. Their concern is making profit. So they don't give you all that great of internet because as long as their competitor's not offering anything better, they can get away with it. And they collaborate with each other. You're probably thinking, Ron, this sounds like the mafia. Yeah, exactly. It's the same notion. It's the same formula. It's an organized duopoly. That's all it is. And it shouldn't be legal. It should totally not be legal. And then they put these things in place to try to stop cities and municipalities from building their own internet. So all these people with their, well, it's the free market argument. No, it's not the free market. Because if it was, all cities and municipalities would be able to build their own internet to, quote, compete. But it's not set up that way. They put red tape in place to make sure cities and municipalities can't do that. But cities and municipalities are getting around it anyway because they're fighting the fight. They're getting it on the ballots. And they're building their own internet. And they're offering something better to people. So I really want to see that happen on a mass scale across the country. And I'm trying to do what I can to foster that. I'm trying to get city-owned internet in my community of Pasadena. Obviously, right now, not a lot's being done in that regard. I can't even go to a city hall meeting because they're not having them. Like there are no city council meetings right now. So, but I hope to resume with that. So here's an article that came out. With millions of students cut off digitally, coronavirus pandemic bolsters demand to treat the internet as a public utility, which at the end of the day, that's what this is. We want the internet to become a public utility. Advocacy groups calls for $100 billion investment toward creating a broadband system that would benefit people, not just companies. While Senate Democrats continue to hold the line against the third GOP coronavirus package, condemned as a corporate blah, 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 concerns about remote education and digital connectivity during the pandemic are rising. Yeah, just imagine for a second we didn't have the internet throughout all this. And I feel uncomfortable even just saying that because it's like one of those things like don't, don't project your own omen, But imagine we didn't have the internet throughout this. Just imagine that for a second. Imagine if throughout all this we didn't even have the internet either. It's disturbing, isn't it? It's very concerning. I agree. So in a letter Sunday that was sent to Mitch McConnell, 20 senators requested that the new COVID-19 relief package include at least $2 billion in E-rate funds for schools and libraries to provide hotspots or other Wi-Fi capable devices for students lacking internet access at home. So Free Press Action on Monday proposed a spending plan for Congress and the FCC to keep people connected to the internet during the pandemic. Which, by the way, shout out to Free Press and Free Press Action. I'm a big fan of Free Press. I like a lot of their work. Now, the proposal they sent, it calls for $1 billion in immediate funding for Lifeline, a federal program that provides affordable communication to people with low incomes. $25 billion for a Lifeline benefit of up to $50 per month for home internet connection. $5 billion for the E-rate educational connectivity program, and $50 billion to deploy high-capacity broadband networks in rural and unserved areas. And let me go ahead and show you guys this tweet in case you would run and retweet it. So here it is. I already retweeted this too. You can also find this on my Twitter. But there's the tweet from Free Press Action. Yesterday, we released the report, Keeping Connected Amid Crisis, Policies to Keep People Online During the COVID-19 Pandemic. The plan calls on Congress to allocate up to $100 billion in subsidies, rebates, and tax relief benefiting people. So go ahead and give that a retweet. Let's see if there's something you can sign. So it looks like it's just a press release, not really something you can sign. I just went ahead and clicked it. But yeah, please do retweet that and see what you can do. All right. So let me see what you guys are saying here. And by the way, if you are so able, interested, and willing, patreon.com/Ron Placone for Give What You Can level. You get all kinds of exclusive content, including, by the way, something I've been doing recently. I've been doing stand-up shows or live performances. It's part stand-up. I tell some stories. I play some songs. It's a fun, interactive experience. I've been doing that live, and it's been a good time. And I've been doing those shows for patrons. So patreon.com/Ron Placone for a Give What You Can level. You get a bunch of those. You get streams, patrons only stream where I respond directly to the patrons. You get a bunch of writings that are unreleased, a bunch of stand-up clips unreleased. You get my album for download in its entirety. You can just download my album. And that's all for a Give What You Can level. Patreon.com/Ron Placone. Check it out. Let's see. Shout out to Inks Pixels. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Which, by the way, LucyandRon.com. That is the webcomic between myself and my cat Lucy. It is written by me. It is illustrated by Inks Pixels. And we're really moving forward with that. We got 51 of them on the books right now, and we got more coming. So, hey, you might be thinking, I'm looking for something new to follow. How about a webcomic between a dude and his cat? LucyandRon.com. You can also find Lucy and Ron on Webtoons. And, yeah, check it out. Check it out. We've been trying to really spread the word with that. We got some longer-term plans for LucyandRon.com. Please do check it out. And Inks Pixel says, save the cure, protect Robert Smith. Furiously plays Close to Me. We're going to have to, the cure is going to have to be the song of the day kind of soon. The Cure is going to have to be a song of the day kind of soon. I know I've picked a ton of Cure tunes in the past, and I'll pick a ton more. You guys know me, but what can you do? Guys, thank you so much for being part of this. We're going to be back on here very soon. In fact, we'll be back at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. I know I usually try to say Eastern first and Pacific second, but whatever, I screwed up. But we'll be back 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific for my interview series, Sounds of Revolution, which, of course, we're doing all those interviews remotely due to what's going on in the world. But I have an interview with Ryan Mendez. He was the lead guitarist of the band Yellow Card. And he's a pretty progressive dude. So we're going to have a chat about 2020. We're going to have a chat about music. We're going to have a chat about the world. We're going to have a chat about what's going on. It's going to be, I can't wait to talk to this guy. I actually met him a little while back at the Live Jimmy Dore show in Burbank, California, at Flappers Comedy Club. He came out to the show. And yeah, he's going to do a Sounds of Revolution interview that's coming up at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. I hope you can tune into that. I'm really excited to talk to the guy. It's going to be a fun interview. And for those of you that are listening to this later on the podcast, the podcast between Ryan and myself will be released later this week. We're going to do the interview live first on the YouTube, and then the audio podcast will be released probably over the weekend. Guys, thank you so much for being part of this. And in the meantime, you know the drill. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same channel. In the meantime, you know the drill. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Peace.